sounds good.
Sounds like you need like an intro animation.
That's true. Like it shouldn't just be my face on the screen. There should be a little more to it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever edition of the Anime Hole. My name is Ryan Van Vliet, the host of Vleeties on Tuesdays and Thursdays on twitch.tv/RealVleeties. That's where you can hear me and my friend Zach talk about whatever comes up, sports, WWE, politics, current events, whatever we feel like talking about. However, when I jump into the Anime Hole, I jump in with one man and one man alone. Hunter DeSander, how are you, my friend? It's been so long.
I'm doing good, my friend. We're here in Michigan. We're trying to get through the college life as best we can. The move's been good, but like I said, I am your lifeguard as we both dive into this anime hole and make sure that you have enough air, my friend, because it's deep.
This is a deep anime hole. And yeah, going through, especially this anime in particular, this was kind of the first one that I really jumped into. Not even the first one, but just I went into this one knowing nothing. I went in not knowing how many episodes it was. And there's nothing more confusing than an anime where they don't put like a season on it. They call it, like, even with this anime, I think it's season 1 part 1 and season 1 part 2. Like, instead of saying, instead of doing like season 1 and season 2, they call it by part. But
right.
This is one of these animes that is, as far as philosophy goes, it really does toy with a lot of unique ideas. And I guess this has been brought up to me, at least by more than one person, by Sonic Gino in particular. He was the one who brought up kind of the philosophy of Deathnote. Like, what does it mean? And this story that goes in so many different ways. And first of all, I guess just the basic premise of this series for the millions of people who have not seen this cartoon that I, as an adult, have watched, and Hunter has seen. Have you seen it more than once? Have you viewed it multiple times?
I've viewed it twice, so I'm guessing Vleeties. Is this the point where we say spoiler warning for some people?
Oh, that's true. If you've never seen Deathnote, the cartoon or the movie, because the movie on Netflix will be talked about as well. If you've never seen either one of those, yeah, maybe this is your spoiler warning. However, I highly recommend you stick around anyway. There's no reason, like, I have a feeling most of you do not like anime to begin with. However, I'm just throwing it out there. There's going to be spoilers. And it's a slow burn for people with anime, I hear. Like, because even with me, it took me a long time to finally just cave in and watch some sort of anime. And it started with Cowboy Bebop, which we're going to have to do an episode of. And then it went to My Hero Academia, which I couldn't put down, and I'm so upset that we have to wait. I mean, I don't even know when season 5 is happening. And then I fell into Deathnote, which probably was the most it made me think, because it really was like, and here's your spoilers, people. Spoiler alert. I guess when you talk about what the premise is of Deathnote, a young man in high school, now I know it's Yagami, but I think we all say Yagami when we read it a few times. And Quinn Clark in the chat, he says that Deathnote is insanely, it's truly worth watching, which he's not wrong. I mean, 100%. It's, I would say for everyone out there, even with spoilers, it's still worth seeing because it goes so many directions and it hits you in so many different ways. The young man finds a notebook where he gets to write down the name of anybody, and then he can choose how that person dies. It's the Death Note, the Death Notebook. You're pretty much able to kill whoever you want with this notebook. Now, the moral dilemma is, and you could back me up on this, Hunter. I'll ask you first. Would you actually use this notebook? Like, if you had a notebook that could kill anyone, because there was a few things that made me automatically go, nope, I would never use this thing. Like, when you first saw this anime, was your initial thought was like, awesome, or were you on the side of like, no, I'm not doing that?
I think it's just the entire premise of the purge of what, like, any crime is legal, which in this case it's murder, but literally no one, well, spoilers, no one, quote unquote, would be able to figure it out, because seriously, like, if you can be able to describe the way the person dies, if not, it resorts to a heart attack, and just that whole moral dilemma of just having the ultimate power in your hands to either be the one of justice, kill whoever wrongs you, people who do deserve it, the rapists, the child molesters. We talk about this all the time in regards to the death penalty. Oh, it should be reserved for any of those cases with extreme cases like rapists, murderers, child molesters, that type of stuff.
Right.
But just to have that idea of morally, I can do this, and there's no way that the system can be cheated entirely. Like, there's corruption in law, the judicial system can be fucked up, as we've seen in history. But what if I'm the person that decides? Like, what is it like to have that power? In that case, it's a case-by-case basis, but if given that responsibility, or in this case, have it literally thrown upon me, why not? Like, maybe.
Well,
maybe.
And I guess the caveat that automatically got me to say no was whoever uses this, if you use this notebook, you cannot go to heaven. Your soul's going to be in purgatory forever. And I think for some reason, out of everything that happens early on in this anime, that was the first thing that jumped out to me. Like, okay, don't use this book, because I am Catholic, I am Christian, I do believe in like an eternal life. So when I'm making a decision like this, you know, it's like, oh, it's gonna affect that. Absolutely not. Now, what Light ends up thinking is, well, look, I want to create this utopia. I want to make this world where everybody is kind of, like I've created this. Nobody's a criminal because everyone's afraid to commit crime. It is like, I know that we've talked about, you and I have talked about before, like the Japanese prison system is way more strict than the American, the American prison system, and. Right. This is just another further example of that. It's like, hey, anyone who's committing a crime, you can just be killed at a moment's notice. Like, there's no more prison.
It's the ultimate deterrent. It's
the
ultimate deterrent.
Yeah,
because
you're not going to be able to commit any crimes. Like, you just, in your head, it's going to kill you.
Yeah, especially if you're superstitious. At that point, if you're a superstitious person in the Death Note universe, it's just ridiculous. That's why you get cults. Like you get in the show where everyone's devoted to Kira, just hoping that, like, if we praise him, obviously we won't get killed. That type of mindset. It's just out of fear and out of that power that people are just respecting it for.
Yeah, and 100%. Where he's created, and when that becomes a thing where he becomes like this god, you know, and that's kind of what he wants to be. He wants to be this hero, this savior of the new world, and I mean, obviously, he is a madman, but you almost, like, while it's happening in the beginning, you are completely rooting for him, right? Like, at least that's how I felt. Like, I can't speak for everyone, and I assume that's what the show wanted everyone to do, was root for the bad guy for a little bit. But you could agree with me on that, right? Like, when it starts, you're supposed to be with him on that journey. You want to be, no, I'm the hero. I'm taking out only bad people, right?
Yeah, well, even then, and they make that a point in the anime where it's just like, I'm the hero, I'm the deliverer of justice, and then he gets the god complex. To figure that his is the only choice that matters. And that's how it ends up spiraling into the whole cobweb and the tumbleweed of trouble that he gets himself into, literally.
And yeah, with the people that are introduced later in this, like, and this might be my only, I mean, and not even to go chronologically with this, but like L is obviously a weird character, meant to be weird, meant to be unorthodox, and meant to not necessarily fit into this unique world that's been created. But oh my gosh, N is the worst. Like, and I know I'm going to break hearts with that. So if you've seen this, like, I thought N, and you could back me up on this. I want to hear your opinion. When L died, should the show have just ended? Like, to me, it was like, that's it, it's over. Great show. I really enjoyed it. It just felt like when they brought in N, it was like, well, you know, he got like, there was no other mentioning of this guy, like, ever. So how come all of a sudden there's this other guy that we got to get rid of now? Like, I don't know. To me, it drove me absolutely nuts. I was like, that's kind of lazy that they would just bring in this other guy. I don't know. You can call me wrong on that, but what were your thoughts on the transition from L to N?
Well, yeah, with Nier and fucking what's his nuts, like, oh yeah, we have the other people that were in this orphanage that we've purposely been training for this exact same moment if this shit were to hit the fan. Yeah, that seems kind of far-fetched, but then again, that's the nature of this fucking story, and I gotta give props to the writers for this, because they are so creative in regards to how in the hell is Light gonna get out of this one. and they find some way to pull it out of their asses to be like, oh, he get this because he planned ahead 2 days before when he was talking to Misaka and all that type of stuff, and then didn't sell his eyesight, that type of shit.
Well, and I love that. I was going to say real quick, I love that animated video you sent me, because it is like he doesn't like Misa whatsoever, and then suddenly it's like, well, I have the Shinigami eyes. I love you. Like, it's kind of what it was, where it was like this immediate, like, whoa, you have the eyes that I'm not going to get because I want to live to be 80. I don't want to die at 40. So, yeah, I do enjoy that part, and he uses her in that way. And he is a good guy, but yeah, he's clearly, like, every step towards the end of the series, he is becoming the villain. From episodes, like, I'd say 26 to 37, I'm kind of ready for him to be taken out. And that is when N shows up, because I am kind of like, this guy won already. Why would he even pretend like, okay, I'm going to finish L's legacy and I'm going to find out who it was? Like, no, just move on. Just say, look, I'm afraid. I don't want to be caught. I don't want to be killed. I'm out of here, my friends. There is no need for me to be dealing with this shit. And I don't know if anyone else kind of felt that way, but it was like, dude, this show ended. Why are we still pretending that we have to find Kira?
Because Light has to be punished. Because he does reach that god complex, and like, we obviously can't have a serial murderer like go out there and just still kill random people. There's no resolution, there's no closure. And like, I still like the fact that L was killed. It definitely seemed like the peak. That's definitely the big climax of the whole thing, because let's remember, they got locked up in prison for a couple months to figure out if they were suspicious. And then all of a sudden he slipped up and like got his name figured out. And then all of a sudden, bam, just right there. So even then, just like after that, it's just like you're riding that high. And I think L like cast such a huge shadow that anybody that was gonna come up to it, like, it was just gonna be an utter disappointment, like in general.
Yeah, but it just was such a huge disappointment where it's like, why would they bring a worse version of L to come in?
Two of them.
Yeah, two, because even Mello or whatever his name was just I mean, what he was, I liked his character a little bit more, where it's like, no, I'm the next L, bro. And I kind of thought they were going to finish each other off, but ultimately the introduction of both of those characters, I was like, why? The show should be over. Like, didn't Light just win? But no, it's and I know that he had the god complex and he had to be taken out eventually, but it's still like, no, he won. I mean, we were kind of rooting for him. This was our moment in the sun. Just give it to us. So just the introduction of those two new characters, I was offended. Like, what? Why is it still going? It had such a perfect ending. Like, just imagine, like, Megalobox. Megalobox ended so well. I mean, we've only seen one season of it, but just imagine, like, if at the like we thought it was over, he wins the big fight. Gearless Joe, he's a kick-ass guy, and then, by the way, spoiler alerts for all my people who haven't seen Megalobox either. But then it's like, no, we're gonna have 6 more episodes where he, there's a new guy who shows up and beats him. Like, just that late introduction of a character in any series almost never works for me. So it was really interesting in anime where they were just like, we're not even going to talk about these characters until you're not expecting them anymore. Like, how come they couldn't bring up this orphanage? This orphanage could have been brought up, like, by episode 10. Or
2.
Where's L from? Oh, he's from this orphanage where they breed highly skilled detectives. Then it's like, oh shit. And then what if we found out L isn't even like a one. Yeah, what if L's not even him? He's just one of the people that pretend to be L, and L is just an initial for an entire organization or something like that. There were other alternatives rather than the series is over. No, it's not. We have more guys. We were just kidding. Like, that drove me nuts.
Right. It's definitely I don't want to say the low points of this anime, because like, even then when it's low, it's not that low, if that makes sense. Like, the show on average bats pretty high, so it's really hard to find like an ultimate, like, oh, this is just terrible, that type of spot, because it always finds you a way to pull you back in.
Yeah, and I would agree with that.
Yeah, so with that being said, what's your some of your favorite parts of this series?
Oh gosh, like I think, and it's stupid, but I know
what stands out. Yeah,
for me, what stands out is him actually dying. I know that I just talked shit about, like, oh, they brought in all these extra guys, but I thought that final episode I really thought he was going to do it again. Like, and I know the show probably And it was one of the benefits of not knowing how many episodes there were, where I was like, this could happen every 50 episodes. They just have this kind of thing happen again. But that final episode where he brings in this guy who he thinks is helping him out, and he thinks everything's going well. We're ripping pages out of books and using them in different ways, and we're getting really creative on how we're doing this entire thing. And I thought that was really, really intricate and really like laid out perfectly. And then it didn't work. And suddenly you're like, wait, like everything I've been told is that Light knows how to get out of this stuff. And even when he has that moment of like the moment of being God, where he's like, I've won, or whatever he says, like he says it all like demonic. And you know, I forget I forget all the other police officers' names that are in there, but even they were like, we already heard you say that I won. It was really creepy, and it's kind of gave yourself up on that one, buddy. Like, yeah, it was a cool moment, and yeah, and even him like running away after being shot, like a lot of that, and then Ryuk writing the name, a lot of it was so great. And that moment isn't a standout to me. And then I guess some of the other moments would be early on in the series. Right. When he killed the police officer's like fiance or wife or whatever she was.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was watching. I had to rewatch that scene again, and literally the title of the video is the most. God, it's like the most depressing scene or the most maniacal scene in the history of Death Note. And if you think about it, it is completely like, because he just plays it right into that woman's hands and literally just basically watches her just like crumble before him, and he's like, oh, why do you keep looking at your watch? And then all of a sudden the time ticks. It's because I'm Kira. And you can just see the look of horror on her face before she inevitably leaves to kill herself. It's astounding. It's astounding. It's destructive.
It's huge. It's huge in that show. And yeah, I remember like one of those moments where it was like, it was kind of the introduction to, oh wait, there's other characters in this world that Light is gonna have to take out, because everybody seems to be out to get him. Everybody kind of knows, like he keeps running into these characters where he leaves like a loose end, and it's like, like I thought I had all of this figured out, and suddenly I look like a huge idiot because I didn't realize this guy had a girlfriend or a wife, and she was a former detective, like, and she's doing work. All of it was so great. It's so intricate. To me, it's so silly that how does it all end? Well, they had like a secret kid or whatever that we never saw coming. And that was the fall of Light Yagami, was that he didn't expect another end to pop up. But other than those moments, there's like, and obviously a lot of the stuff with the other Shinigami, the one who was with Misa Misa, I really liked her character, because it was kind of like she clearly understood that Light was using Misa Misa like for his own benefit, and like Misa Misa wasn't really, even though she also had a Death Note, she clearly was like completely submissive to Light. Like she didn't have to be this submissive and do whatever Light wanted to do, but she she was in love, and she didn't think she had very many other options. So yeah, I think that portion of it was really, really well done. I liked Misa's character, and then another disappointment, she doesn't die, right? Like in the show, I really was waiting for that big moment of like, she cut her life in half. So we can assume if she was going to live to be 70, she's going to die at 35. And then she cuts her life in half again, and now she's going to be like 17 when she dies, which seemed like her character would have been around 17 or 18, because they're in high school, obviously. So I'm kind of waiting for that huge moment, and they kind of didn't give it to us. So are we just going to assume that it's going to happen eventually?
Oh no, she killed herself in the credits.
Oh,
they alluded to that super hard.
I must have
when the credits were rolling, she was like at the top of a building, just looking depressed and shit.
I don't remember this death at all. I thought it was like going to happen on the show. So man, I don't remember this happening in my credits. What did Hulu give me different credits?
I doubt it. I mean, because it was just an ending sequence as the names were popping up, and she was just blonde bitch looking depressed, and then just killed herself and all that type of stuff. Because, like, literally, Light was her life. So what does she have to live for anyway? And her Rem's dead. Rem is the name of her Shinigami.
Yes, Rem.
And so what does she have to, like, what's the point? So even then, it's just why.
Yeah, well, and I liked Rem's character a lot. I thought that made sense. She kind of fell in love with Misa Misa being around her so long. I liked the way that all worked. I just thought it was a little odd the way, and I love the way I like the way Rem used herself, and in the big climax of her killing herself, and it was like that show had so many great twists and turns where you were expecting it to go one way, it goes a different way. But I guess still going back to what we came about was the philosophy, and what Light just keeps going and going and going and going and going, and
right.
Like, I know that he wants to be the god of the new world, but he did all this stuff, and first of all, let's slow down with Al going, this person must be a student. It's like, what the? That's such a huge leap, and then like he won't get off of it at all. Like no matter what happens, Light can be studying in his room, watching TV through a bag of potato chips, proving that there's no fucking way that he could be the Kira, but this guy's just convinced because, well, these killings all happen around a certain time of day. So, like, what? Like, it's one of the oddest, like, leaps that he goes on, and like, what does he call it? His ability.
Deductive reasoning.
Yeah, deductive reasoning abilities. My deductive abilities tell me this. It's like, what? Like, it's a lot of it is a little far fetched, but I do enjoy the way they played with each other. I just think, if we can go into Light's head a little bit longer. Why would he just kept like it could have just been over, and he kept killing.
It could have been over so many times.
Oh yeah, and he kept killing
so many times.
He kept killing people because it was like he could.
It's a drug. I'm pretty sure this is. God, someone's probably already did a video or an essay about this, but I'm pretty sure this whole power and ability of how this works is basically like a drug, and like a commentary on that, like having this power and having this ability, it's addicting. So why would you stop? There's no way he's gonna retire from fucking Deathnoting. That's not a concept.
He's over. My days of Deathnoting are done. I'm going to purgatory, as happy as I can be. Like, cause I mean that part of it really does bum me out. Where it is like, you can't go to heaven, you can't go to hell. You got a demon attacking you all the time. It is kind of.
They're super cool.
The Shinigami. Yeah. Well, and that one. What's up with that one who's like a fat loser that shows up to get his? I want my Death Note back. What's this guy about?
He borrowed it. Like Ryuk had to borrow it in order to because they buried one of them in the woods. They put one of them in a storage box, and I forget what the other one was that they had to rip pages from to put into the watch. But they basically had to borrow a third book in order to deter anybody from knowing that Light is who he is and other Kiras being on. And same with, what's his name? The fucking prosecuting attorney. Same thing with him.
Well, so, I'm even going through here and I did enjoy, now I will admit, the stuff they did with the, not the insurance company. I don't know what their names were. The something group. The guys who end up getting the Death Note, and they're like, who should we kill next?
SPK?
SPK, oh my goodness. I was like, what is the name of the little group they have? I thought that part of it was really good. And I honestly, probably the most satisfying death in a weird way for me was Ray Pember. Because at this time, I was still rooting for Light. And
right.
And you're kind of on his side, and you want to see how he gets away with all this. And he's taking out all the bad people, and only the bad people. But this is kind of the first time where he's like, oh, shit, he just killed like an innocent FBI agent. And now, although the FBI agents were there to get him, it was still like, wait, those were the innocent people, and you killed 12. So now Kira goes from killing only criminals to now he's killing FBI agents. He's, now there is no more limit. We thought we had the limit, and now the limit's gone. So it like one of the most satisfying, but also biggest turning points of the series deaths.
Yeah, and he obviously goes insanely crazy trying to get into this. He falls for it too. Like he gets super hard and trying to get everything all caught and all tied in a bow. But it's just riding that high. It's just it's the drug. It's the drug.
And yeah, it is the God complex. It is like that feeling that you are the most powerful being on the universe, which, I mean, for a minute there he was. But this show, again, like from the start to finish, I was hooked. I couldn't stop. it was one of those like you're looking over at the clock and it's 11:30 and you're like, well, one more episode would mean it's midnight, and then you watch one more and then you're like, but that episode is so good, I'll just watch another. Like it would be like 11:58 and I go, I mean, the episodes are only like 20 minutes long. They're not even 30. And, you know, you're up till like 2 a.m. just watching episode after episode after episode. And I got that feeling with My Hero. I got it with Cowboy Bebop. But, like, these animes in particular, these are the ones that I'm holding so close to my heart right now because they have been so great.
Right.
But let's, you know what? Let's transition a little bit to what was not so great. What the hell happened in this movie, man? Like, I finally got to experience what it was like to be the kid that read the book before the movie came out. I got to be the kid who's...
Yes.
I got to read Hunger Games before seeing it. You know, I've only been that in a few scenarios in my life. I read Ready Player One before the movie came out. I read The Martian before the movie came out. And I watched Death Note, the series, before I watched this frickin' movie. Now, is there anyone out there who can kind of redeem this movie? I know that the creators, the Japanese team, says they defend it. Like, as an Americanized version, they defend the story and what they were trying to accomplish. Like, is that the most crazy thing you've ever heard in your life?
Chances are, like, if it wasn't... God, I was about to say, if it was Disney swinging dick around, I would say it's because they paid them a lot of money to say that. But since it's Netflix, I'm not 100%. And that's what, like, terrifies me. And I think it's just because they got so much money and they're like, listen, whatever we do and whatever we make, you can't talk shit, all right? And there's like, well, and we'll make sure we pay you a lot of money to not talk shit. And I'm pretty sure the only redeeming part of that movie is fucking William Dafoe. Let's be honest. That's probably like the closest thing to being, like, I don't want to say redeeming, but like a shining point, even then.
Well, and...
if they're... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, he is the best part of that movie just because, like, if you were going to pick a Ryuk, if you were going to make a Shinigami out of a human being, it would have to be Willem Dafoe, and that's, like, the only choice that there really was. So, sure. I mean, I agree on that note that, yeah, absolutely, this is the only way to go. That was the only direction they could take this thing in. But also on that note, like, why L? No. What the hell was that about? Why, like, and... there's nothing wrong with getting a black person to play L. I think that in an American adaptation, there's no issue because even L, like, as a Japanese person, is like not Japanese. Nobody can really tell me what he is, and I think that having a black L would work. But I just thought his attachment to Watari and just kind of his general vibe, like he wasn't as cool and smart as L. He was very easily rattled. He was very, very emotional. And they took what was such a niche character and they kind of ruined him. They really did make him... They made me not... I had no one to root for in that entire movie. Like, there was no good guy. You didn't want Light to succeed? Go ahead.
Like, there's a word that gets thrown around rarely nowadays, but I feel like it's quite fitting. And I want to use the phrase bastardize in order to describe what exactly is going on with L, and let alone this whole movie, because oh my god, this movie, like, you can't even that the name changes is what gets you as well.
So wait, what do you not like about the name changes? Because a lot of people, I hear that's the number one thing. Even let's see, we have Sonic Gino in the chat saying, like, changing Light's last name so he can be interested in a woman because Yagami is literally I am gay backwards. So, like, you know, there are little things where, yeah, they had to change it. But, like, Light Turner, I mean, even Light Yagami is a weird name. And it should be Moon Yagami, but it's just pronounced Light. So, yeah. Even with that being said, I didn't mind Light Turner. Was that one of the turnoffs for you?
One of the big turnoffs for me. Even then, the character himself, like, because I want you to think back with me. Think back with me for a second. Let's think back to the manga when all of a sudden Light Yagami comes face to face with Ryuk the very first time. What was his reaction? Calm, cool, and collective. Just like, I'm going to stand my ground and I'm going to talk to this fucking demon who basically graced me with his power. And I'm just going to straight up talk to him. Now you flip that to the Netflix.
Right.
And I wish we could show this, but it's just literally him screaming, shit in his pants, coming maybe, and just like being so and the antithesis of what the character in the manga represents. That's one of the big things as well.
It is
completely
the
uncharacterized.
It is the American like high school teenager not expecting something to come out of the dark like that, and I don't remember in the Netflix movie at all. Do they even mention like that he knows what a Shinigami is? Like, because the big thing for
no, it's America.
Yeah, well they could even say like I've heard of warlocks before or something. They don't have to just completely. We could make up a world where he goes, oh, I've read about Shinigamis and something, but I used to study Japanese this or what or anything. They can fill any loophole. But yeah, having him freak out and be like, oh, it takes away from him being this cool, calm, intellectual savior of the masses. I'm going to be the next god.
The juggernaut.
Yeah, and
like you look at what his reaction was, you're like, this isn't the guy that's going to be like ultimate god complex. He doesn't have that from the beginning. He's supposed to be smart. He's supposed to be calculated completely, and it just completely, like I said, bastardized the character.
Yeah,
so
even
then, like
you turn him into just a frightened teenager. Like this is American Pie, and it's like the first time he's talking to a girl.
Yes.
Like he's like falling back. Oh my god! And yeah, it's completely
Jennifer Coolidge as Ryuk.
Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge would have been a great Ryuk, and like I would have loved if while Ryuk's eating an apple, he's sitting there going MILF, and that would have changed the entire show, and it would have made it a lot better. But yeah, and then even Sonic Gino in the chat is saying that the Japanese live action films were really good, and they were much better than the Netflix film, and that's what I've heard. I heard the creators of the live action Japanese films they were also involved in the American version. They were trying to make it Americanized, and I just think they failed. Like
right.
Even the girl was like, what did they rename the girl in this one? Because she couldn't be Misa, right? She was something else.
Mia,
yeah, great rename. Yeah. And I thought she.
And even then, like I was about to say, even then with Kira. Why? Okay, let's see if you remember this. Why do they call him Kira in the manga?
Well, I know in the anime.
Not in the manga. In the anime.
I didn't read the manga, but I know in the show, it's just Kira means killer, right? I mean,
it's English for killer, and they call him Kira in the fucking show, and it makes no fucking sense because there's no context of that. Why are they going to call him Kira in America when they could literally call him Killer? Straight up.
And that part of it does make no sense. Like, the reason it makes sense in the show is because they assume immediately he's Japanese because most of these deaths are happening in Japan. Most of the murders or killings are happening in Japan. So it makes sense to put a big target on somebody who's Japanese, and that's why he's Kira. So, yeah, for this one, it should be Killer, unless he was attacking a bunch of Japanese people. He's, like, sitting on Wikipedia or on, like, Wiki Japan and going through like, okay, who are the top criminals in Japan in jail right now, and he starts killing off a bunch of them. Then maybe you can kind of focus in on Kira. Didn't they try and say it was from a different language though? I can't remember. I feel like they had some hack excuse for why it was okay for him to be Kira in America as well. Like it was, I forget what he even said. Like if it was Jewish or something. Like I don't remember why. He did try and
Jewish?
I got to look it up because he did try and explain to me why he was still Killer in Japanese but in America. Like,
well, this takes place in Seattle, Washington, the fucking movie. And I'm surprised I remember that because I try my best to forget everything about this movie. Like, I know slightly more about this movie than I actually do about the anime, which fucking sucks because it's the closest thing to a masterpiece that you can get. It's up there with Cowboy Bebop, as we've spoken before. But I still remember it because I was curious about it, and it's just like you remember a good garbage fire when you see one.
Oh yeah, you couldn't. There's no way to like. Even everybody was telling me like, do not watch this, do not watch this, do not watch this, and I was like, I can't wait to watch it.
And I'm here just saying yes, fucking do it. Understand the pain.
I wanted to know. I had to go through it because I always do this where it's like, nah, it's not that bad, and when it started out, I was like, we're hanging in there. We're okay. Like, it's not terrible. I swear Kira means something else in this movie. We're going to have to rewatch it now with everybody because there is a reason why they called him Kira. It meant something else in America, in the English that they did. But, with this entire series, with the film, I wanted the even if they changed it drastically, there's still ways to do that and make it work. There's still ways to make this an American thing. And of course, the other problem is, I mean, what, you have 37 25-minute episodes and you're trying to make 100. And this movie is only like an hour and 15 minutes. They didn't even do like a long, like, you know, Harry Potter.
Yeah,
like,
they didn't do the whole thing.
Like, they didn't do like a 2.5 hour movie. They were just like, nah, let's just throw it into like an hour and 15. Let's just 75 minutes this bitch and get out of here. Like, I don't know who was in charge of the adaptation that decided, let's make it fast. like that never, I don't know if that's ever worked for any movie, the show turned into a movie where it's like, hey, you know how we told this really lengthy story? Like, maybe even just do new characters. Don't even do Light. Don't even do Misa. Just get a new person. Just
inspired by.
Inspired by.
It's the exact same way that the old samurai movies, like Yojimbo or Seven Samurai, got adapted. I say adapted very clearly to an American audience as fucking westerns. That's how you get The Man with No Name, and that's how you get fucking The Magnificent Seven, because all those are based on Japanese films, but got acclimated to westerns for American audiences. That's how you do it.
And there's ways to do it correctly. And like I said, if you would have just rebooted this whole fucking thing and you would have just said like, okay, you know, let's just say little black kid, you know, Reggie Thomas, he finds the Death Note. Now, how does he use this differently? Let's tell a different story. He's got an older brother who's always picking on him, and he's like tempted to use the Death Note on his own brother. There's other things that we could do to make an interesting Death Note. There's no reason that we have to make a 75 shitty version of what was an awesome television show. Like, or imagine we get a female Light. You know, she gets the note, and she takes out a whole plethora of people for other reasons, and I mean, let's completely tweak Elle's character where, you know, it is somebody who's personally affected by someone who was killed or something like that. Like I came up with two way better ideas in the time that we're sitting here talking. And then Sonic Gino in the chat saying that Gintama is another anime that is close to a masterpiece. He's been pushing this one on me. Have you seen this?
I have not seen Gintama, no.
No, see, I haven't seen Gintama. I know that you said Yu Yu is your favorite. I watched a little bit of it, but it was reminding me too much of like old school Ninja Turtles cartoons. So I just needed a break. The animation itself was kind of losing me. I will get there.
Like I understand Yu Yu Hakusho, but like it's the best. It's the best. Like, and I don't even think you've gotten to the point where they got to the fighting arc into it, the fighting tournament.
No, there's been nothing. Yeah, I made
that's another conversation.
I maybe made it 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm just saying, when I look at the animes that I've watched, Trigun is fine. I wouldn't put Trigun on this level. Trigun is good on like an episode to episode basis. There's not like this overarching, huge, like, oh, you need to watch every episode and like you can't put it down. Like, Trigun's perfect to watch an episode and go to bed. Like, it really is. It doesn't have a like kind of how Cowboy Bebop, where there's not this huge overarching thing. Although I feel like we could do an entire hour anime hole on the final episode of Cowboy Bebop with the you told me the past.
I welcome it.
Yeah, you told me the past doesn't matter, and like it's oh my gosh, I just watched that last like 4 minutes of the episode the other day, and you know you're gonna carry that weight and all this stuff. Like it's just like oh my goodness, this was a perfect show. And I still haven't finished the movie. Like, I don't know why. Something about watching the first half hour of the movie, I was like, it's just, the show was so perfect. The animated movie just cannot keep up with what I witnessed in a 26 episode show. Does that make sense?
No, it completely makes sense. And that's why we have to get ready for another couple of years to watch the live action show that's coming on Netflix.
And if they have...
just another reason for that.
Isn't Spike Spiegel going to be Asian in this one? Like, this is a fun twist. See, and this is what I was talking about with...
Yeah, it's fucking Harold from Harold and Kumar.
See, it's MILF. See, it's what we said exactly. Yeah. They're doing a perfect American adaptation of it. Because, yeah, with this Death Note, there's so many ways they could have made this thing great. And just changing the characters, giving us a new story, but based so loosely on this, because there was no way they were going to be able to do any of the cool stuff. They rushed it so quick. I thought the relationship between the dad and the son was terrible. Like, I didn't get it. It didn't work for me. And are there rumors of them trying this again? Like, sometimes when an Americanized version of like a film like this doesn't work, sometimes they want to, like Fantastic Four. Like, let's go back to it, man. We can do it. We can re-dip our toes into that water and make something great. You think they can do that?
Oh, they're gonna do it with Fantastic Four, no doubt about it. But yeah, I'm reading it right now in regards to Death Note, in regards to the Netflix series. Last sentence: a sequel film is reportedly in the works. So, I don't know. Public outrage can only go so far.
Yeah, well,
but they let us show like cuties on the fucking or whatever.
Who knows? Who knows what's going on with Netflix? Yeah, they put cuties on there, and I got people on Facebook defending cuties. Like, no, it's not that bad. It's like, you watched it?
Who? Are they on a list? Are they fucking? No.
I don't get it. I don't. Well, and people are trying to say like conservatives are really blowing this up. And it's like, I mean, it starts somewhere. Yeah, I was listening to a podcast today that was like, give a mouse a cookie, and then you got to give the mouse a napkin, then you got to give them this, and you got to give them this. If we give pedophiles this one movie about 11-year-olds twerking, who's to say we don't give them a movie about 11-year-olds stripping? Who's to say we don't? Let's just keep pushing that envelope. It's never going to fall off the table. Everybody's all in on it. And then Sonic Gino in the chat, he says, even giving L the Death Note would have been a great change of the Death Note story. And they did give us that weird ending where it was like, in the Netflix movie, where L's going to write his name down. But why even give us that weird cliffhanger? Why even bother with that? Why not just end it? Did they think they were doing something cool by giving us a cliffhanger? Like, does he do it or does he not? Like, they had to know it was already so bad. It was already so bad.
But even then, like, if he were to do that, like, canonically, it goes against one of the rules of the Death Note. So,
sure.
Of, like, him actually touching it, and then, like, as soon as he was, like, if he's one of those writers, like I am, that actually puts his finger with the pen on the paper while writing, to basically steady myself, bam, look who he sees right in front of him while he's writing his own name, basically kill himself.
And it could, and I just don't know why. Did they think it was cool? And then it almost felt like they were making fun of us with all of the outtakes and the funny moments that they all had together making this movie. It's like, you guys know this was like a big deal for a lot of people, and you guys really fucked this movie up. And I watched it way after the fact, so I can't even imagine being like excited. Like, right now I have anticipation for Cowboy Bebop. Like, I can't wait for that to hit Netflix. Like, that's going to be huge. Like, and if it's jeez, it better be at least half better than this Death Note thing was. You know, like my I'm so low. I don't have any faith that they're going to make anything worthwhile because this was so terrible. And the show was so good. The show made you ask so many questions, and he was so evil, but you were rooting for him a little bit. I didn't like L at all. Like, when I look at notes and they're like, you know, the top 10 most sad deaths in Death Note, and L's number 1. I'm like, get out of here. Like, I was kind of excited when L died. I thought the villain lost, the hero
won. It wasn't sad.
But even like,
it was a big there. That was it.
But even when L died, were you like, what was your reaction when L died? Let me just go there.
Legit, like, this motherfucker did it. Like, it was just like, I was like on the edge of my seat because I was watching it with my ex at the time. It was our let's get her into anime whole type thing so I can get into hers.
Right.
No. And we watched it, and we're like on the edge of our seat, and I was looking at her. She's like, he's gonna fucking do this, isn't he? And because we're thinking, like, there's always like a thing that stops it right away. And then at the last second, it's just like, I literally gasped as soon as he was falling out of his chair. I was like, he fucking did it. It was not even like a celebratory thing. It was just like the payoff is there. Kind of a celebratory thing. I was kind of happy, but like, I was like, oh fucking shit, he did it. There's no one that can stop him. Then all of a sudden, 2 episodes later, we have an orphanage. Yeah, that's about it.
We have another person that can stop him. Like, yeah, that was my initial thing, was like, the show is over. What an amazing series. I need to go take a nap. That was outstanding. And then is Stephen Bloom going to be in the Cowboy Bebop Netflix film? I haven't heard this. Is this a you know what they should do, Hunter? And quite honestly, it's going to be a series, right? They're going to do like a 10-episode series of Cowboy Bebop. Mm-hmm. From what I've heard, I say we just do one movie on the episode where he goes to Spaceland or whatever and fights the guy who's afraid of cats.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying.
That,
even then, like,
that episode is so good.
it terrified me. Like, that was the first time I'm like, it's one of the few times where I feel genuinely scared of an anime. Like, I'm like thinking back, like the first instance of that happening to me was back when I was not such a wee lad, but almost. It was during Dragon Ball Z, and then they're on Namek, and they were fighting Raccoon, and I just was terrified because they're beating the shit out of this guy, but he's just still standing there and fucking getting it back. And that's another show you need to get into, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But
Dragon Ball's so long.
Anime can make you feel dread and feel excitement. It's crazy.
I have missed the Dragon Ball train. That's the only problem, is that it's just too long. It's too hard to invest in that now. Like, even watching My Hero Academia, watching all however 80 episodes that I've watched, and I'm watching that, and like when I watch that in 1 month, like that was an achievement that will never be done again for me. And when I think of Dragon Ball with 300 episodes, and then all the series that have spun off, there's just no way I'll be able to ever get into it. I missed it. I missed the train, and that's okay. Because even when it's on Hulu and it's like recommended, I just go, nah, there's too many. There's too much of it. It's like, it's almost like if you were going to watch wrestling and you were like, okay, I'm going to start at the very first episode of Monday Night Raw. Like, you can't do that. You're not going to be able to ever catch up. You're just going to be, you're going to be at 97, and then you're going to go, you know what, I'm done. Like, there's no way you're ever going to catch up.
And that's why I can't ever suggest One Piece or fucking Naruto or what is now Bleach to you, because I'm gonna do a quick Google search. How One Piece it's still in production. They still haven't found One Piece. Like, I say that to you, but you probably don't even know what it means.
Don't even know what that means.
How many episodes do you think are in this show? How many episodes do you think are in the show One Piece?
I think I've heard. Isn't it almost like 800?
It came out in 1999.
Yeah, isn't it like over 800 now? Isn't it like a Monday Night Raw kind of deal?
It is at 941.
Good God. So how is anyone ever supposed to catch up to that? That's like, okay, sit down. We're going to watch all 500 episodes of Gunsmoke right now. It's over. I missed the train, and there's no need to be sad about it. It's just, that's what it is. Like, My Hero Academia was an accomplishment. I have Naruto in my queue. Are you saying there's a lot of episodes of that? Because I thought it was just, I thought I was good to go. Is Naruto too long?
No, well, I can't get into Naruto personally, and I think it is what it is, and I'm not even that, because 500 episodes in the anime TV series, and that's just Shippuden. There's more spin-offs. There's more spin-offs, sequels, prequels. It gets pretty nuts.
Wow, I'm looking over here at Naruto. I do see over 200. I see 220 episodes of the anime television series of just Naruto, and then
Naruto.
No, it's Naruto, and then Shippuden. 500 episodes. That's so many. Yeah, I guess I'll be missing that one as well. I got a couple queued up.
It's partially what I was about to say. It's partially the reason why I offered Cowboy Bebop to you as the first thing.
Right.
Because it's perfect bite size, and that's why I suggested Deathnote as the second thing. And I'm methodical when it comes to these recommendations. It's like I have a plan or something.
No, there was a plan. And I liked one of the things that I was doing, and I think you even commented on this, was like watch a classic like Cowboy Bebop, and then fall into something new like My Hero. Then I went back to Deathnote, which is a classic. Then I watched Megalobox. I watched really fast. I don't know why. It just seemed like it sounded cool. I was like, dude, Megalobox? Let's watch that. And I really enjoyed it, and it went by quick. And then now I'm kind of dipping my toe into Trigun. Like, I think I've watched 10 episodes in like a month. So it hasn't been like one of these animes that I can't put down. So I think I'm waiting. I did try One Punch Man. I think that One Punch Man kind of soured me a little bit because it was super on the nose.
Yeah, it was very obvious. But if you have a chance, maybe Mob Psycho 100 can be able to cleanse your palate.
Oh.
Or if you want to do something older, then I have a little bit. If you want, I'm recommending JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to you until Part 6 is announced, because then we could take that journey together and ride through Parts 1 through 6, because chances are Parts 7 and 8 won't get animated for another 10 years maybe. And I won't blame them for it.
I'm
Or
here.
even then, there might be some bullshit anime that I might recommend to you. That's like if you wanna like satiate certain things, be a man of culture, so to speak. So, yeah,
Bleach is in my queue, by the way, and I'm getting in the chat here that Bleach is very good. Just start from episode 1.
it is.
And I also have Full Metal Alchemist in the queue because I know that you really like Full Metal Alchemist. So there's plenty to get into. So I'm thinking what we do now is
And even then, there's two versions of Full Metal Alchemist, and both of them are good. Both of them hold up in their own right.
Did you watch Trigun? Are you a Trigun fan?
I did watch some of it, but unfortunately, like what I've been seeing it through, I couldn't be able to get off. So I only got stuck watching it episodically.
Okay, yeah, because it's on Hulu right now, and I've been watching it, and it's been good. I like certain aspects of it, like the 60 billion double dollars. I like the idea of having double dollars. I think that makes it fun. And I like the setting, and I like that they go to different towns, and he gets involved in different shenanigans, and I like that. But it's just not gripping like some of these other, especially like My Hero Academia. You know what I mean? Like it's just not. I couldn't put down My Hero Academia. I couldn't put down Deathnote. With Trigun, it's a little bit more easy to set down. So maybe we do go into something else, and we go from there. But yeah, I really do enjoy Deathnote, and I think that's why the first time that we sat down for the anime hole had to be Deathnote, because it was addicting, it was shocking, it made you like think, you know, you were waiting for the twist. It wasn't like this huge action-packed anime. It was really like this storytelling anime with a good theme. I don't know, it was the way it was presented was unique. Really enjoyed the entire thing. If I had to give anybody if I had to find anyone, you started me on Cowboy Bebop, which was a great decision. I would probably say go Death Note first, and I would say let's watch the first 3 episodes together. Let's hold our hands through these first 3, and then you're off on your own, because I do think it did kind of have that first episode like lull of like, okay, we're trying to set up this huge thing. I think by episode 2, I was like, this is going to be very good. And
Expedition, yeah.
Yeah, and same with like My Hero. I think I watched the first episode of My Hero many moons ago, and then when I finally watched like the first 3 episodes, I was like, this show is great. You know, you too can become a hero. I was like, this show's important. I was like sitting there crying too. I was like, I don't even know these guys yet. So there's plenty more anime to get to. Are you watching any right now? Like, is there a new one that you're like, dude, I don't know about this one, but so far I'm loving whatever.
Well, it's been almost a year, and they haven't announced part 6 yet, so that's going to be it. I've watched recently Cells at Work. If you ever want a cool dramatization of how your body works, and doctors agreed, like, yeah, if there was an anime about how your red blood cells and white blood cells act in your human body, this is about it. Because it's scientifically proven, then they get their notes right. It's called Cells at Work. It's basically how your body... It's a story about your body and how it works. Let's see. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You got more.
I was about to say, or if you want to be a man of culture like I am, there's a show. It's called Kaijo Hip Whip Girl. If you want to get into that, it's absolute nonsense. The best way I could say it is anime butt battles in a pool. Like, it's a gladiatorial combat in a pool. It's fucking fan service. You come for the plot, quote unquote plot, breasts, and you stay for the actual plot. And it's actually, you get yourselves invested. It's pretty great.
There was plenty of plot there's plenty of plot in My Hero where even I'm like, there's a lot of fan service happening here, and you don't think that show would be that way, but it is.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot, and they're supposed to be in high school, which is also. I mean, we might need to get the Cuties crew in on here. And then looks like Sonic Geno says someone uploaded the Assassination Classroom. The English dub is now on Hulu, but I think it's on YouTube. I think it's on Hulu. Assassination Classroom is another one that's in my queue. So I think what we need to do is I'm going to grab a couple anime, watch the first 3 episodes, and then kind of go from there and like say, okay, here's what I thought of this, here's what I thought of this. We'll see where we go next. Because there's plenty more of these to come, Hunter, because this was only the first. Let's play the awesome song.
First.
Let's play the awesome song that we came into. But this was the debut edition.
This is the first step.
This is the first step. This is just that first line of Coke. You know, you're not gonna stop at just one. There's plenty more. You got a whole bag. You got it from a guy. There's no reason why you should
Completely.
stop now. So, Hunter, I want to...
I'm the lifeguard of this pool.
You are. This is your anime hole, and I'm just swimming in it. And I want to thank you so much for joining me on this debut edition of the Anime Hole right here on Facebook. The audio on-demand version will be available when you go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Just search Vleeties. It'll be there. I will make sure that it's there. It'll be titled The Anime Hole. That's how you'll know. And stay tuned. Join the Discord. Join the Anime Hole Discord that's on that link that I have posted on the screen. You'll be able to get in there. You'll be able to talk anime with us, make recommendations, and of course, you'll know when we're going live next. Because I don't know if we're going to do like a weekly thing, but I think we should. We'll be able to communicate clearly on the Anime Hole Discord channel. So, Hunter, any final words for the folks out there?
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for enticing me to come on to this journey with you. And yeah, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at HD-Mexicutioner, HDMEXIQTI. Well, HDMEXIQTIONER for any random shenanigans and that type of stuff. And let's all remember, in the final pages of this Death Note, all this began, much like your journey through anime, because Ryuk was bored. Thank you very much, Vleeties.
Yeah, Ryuk was bored, and that's how all good things kind of start, and that's how they all kind of go. So, Hunter, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone checking us out on Facebook. Remember that I'm live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, twitch.tv/realvleeties, and I will be live. Geez, if you're watching this live on Facebook, I'll be live in an hour over there on the old Twitch stream. Yeah, we got plenty to talk about. NFL happened. California's on fire. Come in and check it out. It's going to be a good time tonight. And just make sure at Vleeties on Twitter, at Vleeties on Parler, Facebook.com/realvleeties to follow the channel. Plenty more to get to. So thank you guys so much for coming in, hanging out, and we will talk to you next time. Thank you.